Okay, cognitive interview, AO1. Understanding of the cognitive interview, and you'll understand of what makes the enhanced cognitive interview enhanced. Okay, the lesson is all AO1. First of all, who it is. Fisher and Geiselman, 1992, argued that eyewitness testimony could be improved if the police used better interviewing techniques. So at this point, you already know that misleading questions, anxiety, retrieval failure, interference, all of these things lead to people forgetting things, people not being able to remember stuff. Okay, they recommended using a cognitive interview should be put in place due to our psychological insights into how memory works. The first one of these is report everything. Basically what you need to know for each one of these sections is how to conduct an interview, like what would you say for each section, and what it actually looks like. So this one, witnesses are encouraged to include every single detail of the event, even if they seem irrelevant or the witness doesn't feel confident about it. So they will just be asked, tell me everything from the start to the finish, and they won't interrupt them, and they'll write everything down and they'll record it, and it may take 10 minutes, it may take 2 hours. But the idea is that before you move on to any other stage, you've allowed the person to put their start and finish and their idea and their story to it, and then you can go back and try some of the other sections. So this one, report everything. The second one, reinstate the context. The witness should return to the original crime scene in their mind and imagine the environment, where the time, etc. And you'll see this is the kind of, think back. Can you remember what it's like? You'll try and reinstate your context when you forget something. You might shut your eyes and go, okay, I'm trying to remember actually what was going on. Where was it when I last saw my keys? Where was it when I last saw my wallet? And you kind of reinstate the context that way. It is related to context-dependent forgetting, and this one also has an ethical side to it. If I'm going to, let's say you were, you did witness a very harsh crime, me trying to get you to remember it, remember what it smelt like, and blah blah blah, would have an ethical issue on it. This would be, the question for it would be, really try and think back, remember this. It's a little bit like hypnotism, I suppose. Trying to get them to think back to where they were. Reverse the order, fairly obvious. Events should be recalled in a different chronological order to the original sequence of events. This is done to prevent people reporting their expectations of what have happened. It prevents dishonesty and untruthful accounts. It's very easy to catch someone out if they've made up a whole lie in a story, to tell them to say, right, can you start from that and work backwards? Okay, because things don't work like that if you haven't actually seen them. This is good. It's not necessarily to catch people out, but it does get them to think about other things. All of these sections are about trying to get more cues, trying to get them, oh yeah, I do remember. Now you've asked me to do it backwards, I remember that such and such happened. And so you're finding more information. It's always about trying to get more cues and gather more about what actually did happen and what's in the memory. Change of perspective. Recalling the incident in another person's perspective. So you'd say, what did the barman see? What would the bouncer have seen? What would the driver have seen? Something like that. This is done to disrupt the effect of expectations and schema on recall. The schema you have for a particular setting generates expectations of what you could have seen. Okay, and this helps get rid of it. So that's just another one to get them to try and think about it in a slightly different way. It might counteract a few things. Oh, actually, I forgot that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so again, change perspective. The enhanced cognitive interview, Fisher 1987, developed additional elements to the cognitive interview to focus on social dynamics of interaction. The interviewer needs to know when to establish eye contact and when to relinquish it. The enhanced cognitive interview also includes ideas such as reducing eyewitness anxiety, minimizing distractions, getting the witness to speak slowly, and asking open-ended questions. So, hopefully you've seen a cognitive interview of some sort, in a room with somebody interviewing, and they're trying to reduce anxiety. They try to, make it nice, a nice room. And, do you need a drink? Do you need a coffee? Do you need a tea? They'll, have minimizing distractions. They're not going to do a cognitive interview, in the middle of a busy street where there's things distracting you. They'll ask open-ended questions to try and get the eyewitness to say something else, not to trick them, but to give them a chance to, expand on something. Closed questions, did you see this? Yes, no, aren't necessarily helpful. So open-ended questions. Okay, next is AO3. Well done.